That's, I mean, you get certain people on calls that make it worse, that you're like, oh, they're great, they showed up. But I think it's over time. Everyone starts new as a cop. Like, I remember thought, Badge, you listen to me. Like, I'm Zeus, whatever I say goes. And I think eventually it just transitioned out of there. And I think the best example how to talk to people is when you're newer and people are like, oh, how old are you? And you're like, it's none of your business type thing, right? When you get into the mentality, like, hey, I'm 40 years old. Who cares if somebody knows your age? It doesn't matter. But just that simple thing and being personal, I think, is the most important. I never fought with anybody because I think I just didn't care. Like, people screaming at you, whatever, don't care. I stopped looking at it as being a badge, authoritative type figure, and looking at it as it's a paycheck to provide for my family. And that made that transition of I'm treating people the same as I want to be treated, just because it was having a good time, getting to know people, trying to make a connection like a salesperson. Like, it's a disturbance and you start talking about, like, I don't know, the renovation they're doing before they get arrested and trying to be personal that way. That's what I always found interesting and fun. And you learn from the old timers. There's a guy I will reference 1,000 times. His name is Gio Krasinski. God bless his soul. He's passed now. That guy had double knee replacement in Brown County. He was my idol of teaching me everything. And he used to go to calls and swear at people. Imagine this guy, just cranky old, worn out leather, just wanted his paycheck and go home. But he had the greatest advice. In years, I tried to remember. Every time I went to a call, this guy would be swearing at a parent. Like, it was legitimate reasons. It wasn't like just swearing. It was when people did something really wrong, you'd swear at them. And I'm like, oh, we're going to get a complaint. Well, we're definitely going to get a complaint. And I was all word, complaint. And they never got complaints. Just because the way he carried himself and when he was doing it was at the appropriate time to do it, when people need to be yelled at for a certain reason. And there's times cops yell at people and it's not the right time for it. You got to read the room. And I think a lot of cops, half of them don't know how to read the room, and they use that badge as an authoritative figure. Like, you got to listen to me, and people struggle on it the first couple of years. When you get that going right away, and you, like you said, customer service, I think is really important, and that's going to keep you safe a lot of times. I'm also told I got a resting cop asshole face. I don't know if that's true or not. Even now, people say that. I'm like, great.
My favorite is that we have the cop knock. Still trying to figure out what that is. Like, even when I'm
is it third shift or first shift knock, though?
Well,
there's a difference.
You're right. There's a difference as to whether or not you want them to answer the door.
Third shift is bang, 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 bang.
There's a reason we have to wake people up, even though we already know that they're probably awake. There's a reason that we're there.
First shift, you knock once and then you leave. Well, 30 seconds later, not even time for them to get to the door.
I'm a solid 3 knocker. I will knock 3 times.
Nice.
I have the rule of 3. I like the rule.
I love that for you.
Thanks.
I was given 3 golden rules. You want to hear the 3 golden rules?
Sure.
In law enforcement, I was given the 3 golden rules. And one was, don't piss in gravel. They'll splash on your boots, and your boots better be shined every fucking day. That's what I was told. Don't shit where you eat, meaning don't date dispatchers. I've ruined 2 of those rules. I peed in gravel, and I definitely got on your boots, and you'll have to shine them. I dated a dispatcher, went horribly wrong. And the third one, I think, is the most important, that new cops don't understand, and don't take me wrong the way I say this, but your opinion doesn't matter, so shut the fuck up and do a whole bunch of work, right? And that resonates because when you're a new cop, old veterans will judge you. They will judge you to the bitter end until they figure out how you can handle calls, if you're a go-getter, how you can talk to people and all those things, right? And you're not going to get experience unless you're a go-getter and you get out there. And it bothered me when new cops just sat in parking lots when there's like 10 calls stacked and they didn't go to calls at all. And you're the veteran guy running to call, and the new person just sits there and does nothing, right? You got to get experience to understand the whole aspect of the job, because even I think after 20 years, I was pretty comfortable doing most of the things besides sex assaults. But I remember being night shifts when I was newer. I'm like, oh, I hope this doesn't happen. Cross your fingers. It's going to happen at some point. You just got to dive deep into it and just handle it.
And it's always the worst time when you have the shortest amount of staff, when there's only one supervisor, shit hits the fan and it goes quick.
Oh yeah. Then there's other weird things in the career you'll get to know. But overall 20 years, I'm pretty happy overall 20 years. I wouldn't trade it for anything, even where I'm at now and the crap I've gone through. But 20 years, it was rewarding in some sort, or passion, or solving some things. Like you said, the B cop position, the most satisfying is helping out the little lady down the street who's lived there for her entire life, and the drug dealer next door hasn't been solved for a while, and you go solve it. That's probably the most rewarding out of all the stuff in the career, is those type of examples.
So we'll bring it back to me. What's your most memorable call or experience with me working?
Oh, God, like I said, it's probably not your favorite times. Kevin, when he talks to people on the phone, he gets upset. It's
oh, wait. For the record, it's in response to people being upset.
This just has a really fun way. His misery is somehow enjoyable to watch just because it's not that bad. But people probably, it's a good time to yell at them because they're being idiots. And Kevin kind of give up, and he'll be like, "I'm done talking to you," and hang up the phone. He's like, "I'm going out into the street," and gets in the squad and takes off. I mean, there's other memorable moments with you that I can't share.
Well, yeah, they're the same ones of me just being frustrated with people on the phone. And me being like, listen, if you're going to yell at me, I'm just going to hang up.
It doesn't sound like that.
And then they continue to yell, and it's like, all right, so I already told you this, so I'm done now.
I'm done now.
Favorite. So we're done, and I'm hanging up. And then I click, and then I need to get out of the office because I need to go do something else productive.
The TikToks were fun. The 2 times in the car I won't share the story were pretty hilarious. I mean, she'll still share the stories. There's a lot of good times we had when we were beat cops. We had a great time. I think people knew that, and they were trying to break up that good time. But we were also solving stuff together. Like, Kevin, come help me with this house and do this thing, and you hop in the car and we'll go over there and figure out what we need to do. So we were solving stuff, but we were having a great time. There probably isn't one that stands out. There's just a whole bunch of them. I mean, the video of the boats, like in the middle of the night and calling out the boat names and relating it to a conversation and you getting annoyed with it. I still have the video. It's great.
Oh, I think I recorded it, so I clearly couldn't have been that annoyed.
Night shift was a good time. We had words of the week on night shift. That's an enjoyable one. Being new or being a veteran from one department to the other, I already knew some of the things, like they're going to judge me. They're going to see how I handle calls. They're going to do this. Very quickly, I think amongst road patrol, they liked the ideas I have because I was a goofball. And when I had words of the week, it would be like strawberry or lasagna or one of those things. So during your call, the cop would have to use the word of the week during the call. And part of that is like trauma responses, right? You're trying to break up some of the horrific things you see, not necessarily on a serious call, but after a serious call, you go to another call, you add words of the week. And a lot of the veterans really, really enjoyed that. Like, they were like, "Oh yeah, that's awesome." Every week they're like, "What's the word of the week this week?" And they could see how far they could push it. Seatbelts were another thing. When I was into seatbelts and staying in the middle of the intersection, half of them thought it was hilarious. Other half were annoyed because they had to go and enforce seatbelt violations. But me standing at 2:00 in the morning in the middle of the intersection calling out seatbelts for people to pull over cars, they enjoyed that. So I like to find things like that. That was fun, knowing that they would totally chastise me coming to a new department. But I think quickly I kind of was accepted as their culture, working third shift. So there's a lot of that I enjoy. Why are you staring at me like that?
This is where we have our awkward silence, right? We ran out of things to talk about. So I'll piggyback on kind of your the advice. So the advice that I was provided is
this can be good.
Well, I don't think it's appropriate to be said, but basically the context of it is that your badge will get you relationships, but those relationships will get the badge if you're not careful. By the oldest of veterans at the time. Well, not the oldest, but
100% true.
It is true. I mean, I was already in a relationship, so I have no actual experience with that. But another thing that I've went with, not only like dealing with everything as customer service, but for introducing to a department and having been at 4 now, is knowing your place and acting accordingly. So you could have years of experience, but you go to a new department. Like, you don't have to show off right away. You don't have to be the best. You don't have to be like anything like that. You can be, but you don't. I guess you don't have to throw it in people's faces. Like I even on a daily basis, I kind of check myself where like I'll have a patrol officer like respond to something and be like, hey, this place is closed, and I'll already know it. And instead of saying like, yep, or yep, I swung back there or passed there earlier, and like I already knew that, and simply just saying like, okay, thanks. Or a lot of people, agencies have community service officers, and they work for the department, and then they get hired on as a patrol officer, and they already know a bunch of stuff. Like they know how to use normally like the CAD system, the computer aided dispatch for those on law enforcement, and entering property and stuff like that, which is awesome. But sometimes the ego has already started for some of those people. And they hit the road as an officer, and they act like they've already been an officer for the entire time that they're a community service officer. And the attitude shows, and people notice. And it's not a great look, and it honestly sets them up for a little bit of a disservice. Typically, it's the same thing where people like being able to talk to people.
Right. It's like the new cop was talking about, like, it's my badge. I listen 100%. To me,
And again, it's fewer. There are less people. It's a couple in the grand scheme of things that are like being promoted or like being hired on as patrol officers or transferring to another agency or doing whatever, but really remaining humble. And that includes even when you get like promoted. For me, I came into Fond du Lac as a promoted position, never worked there as a patrol officer, just humbling on a daily basis of like, hey, how do we do this? And it's like, that's a great question. Let me figure that out, because honestly, never had to do that as a patrol officer here. I can tell you how we did it in Sheboygan, but we'll figure it out and we'll work through it. Knowing that you don't know everything and that you just need to figure out how to find things out. But that's the key to that. Staying humble too.
That's a big one, right? I'll let you pick my favorite story, and I'll explain it because there's so many good ones where I just circumnavigate supervision of some sort. Either you can pick between being threatened to be arrested on a call that you're handling, or trying to clean up a neighborhood full of a homeless encampment. I'll let you pick which one.
We'll go with threatened to be arrested.
All right. This is a great one. This is one of my highlights of my career. And I'm sure somebody that probably involved the call is going to probably watch this. But if people don't know, there is an ugly side to law enforcement. There's multiple avenues. But law enforcement can be very political and deal with budgets. And you start learning that fatal accidents also obtain grant money for law enforcement agencies. So up in Brown County, they started kind of a multi-jurisdiction ODBI grant, which a lot do, and they were trying to combat fatal accidents. Don't get me wrong, law enforcement doesn't want to see fatal accidents, but when you have a large quantity of fatal accidents, usually you get grant money from the state to combat drinking and driving, because a lot of fatal accidents come with drinking and driving. So a little agency of ours, Hobart Lawrence, which is in the west side of Green Bay, it was only 4 people running 24/7. I don't know how we did it. And a lot of it was political. Like the sheriff's department was like giving calls to a different agency, and our jurisdiction were like, how can you do that? So there's a lot of political stuff involved. But anyways, we had 52 square miles, and I don't know how many highway miles, like 14 highway miles. So we had a lot of fatal accidents. So we got a lot of grant money with that. And part of grant money comes with like time to put guys on the road or equipment. That's a whole other story of what occurs. But with that also goes like a super troopers type battling a call. So like the beginning, the sheriff's department would always be like, hey, it's our call because it's inside the county. And then our agency would be like, no, it's our call because we got dispatch. So just this feud back and forth, and eventually got worked out. And then we hired a part-timer who was a retired cop. God bless his soul. Love the guy. Just an old part-timer. Old retired guy, just needed some hours. So he worked in our agency, and I remember one winter day, we worked everything out with the county. If anything happens in our jurisdiction, we handle. A lot of it comes with like, why do you have a police department if your calls are going to be given up? There's no point to the police department anymore. So that's part of it. And I come in and I relieve him, and it's a snowy blizzard day, and I'm like, hey, how'd it go? He goes, oh, there's a fatal accident on the south side of our area. Like, why are you here? He goes, well, I had a car in the ditch on the north side. I'm like, why aren't you down there versus the car in the ditch? Oh, the state patrol said they would handle it for us, boss. I'm like, no, you're supposed to be down there handling our calls because we just worked out this whole dramatic thing of whose call it is and stuff like that. So fast forward, it turned into a battle back and forth between the state patrol and our agency about whose fatal accident it's going to be. So a lot of fatal accidents, you can figure out if they're like, you can kind of get an idea if they're like a medical problem or if it's like two cars, obviously there's something else going on. But this is like a sunny Sunday. No cars on the road. There's one tree left out of the whole entire stretch of highway. And it was like way off the side of the road. So it was 5 a.m. Get a car of a single car accident, hits the tree. Guy's not breathing, has no pulse. So kind of get an idea, okay, either it's drinking and driving or it's a medical problem, like have a heart attack, or diabetic people have diabetic reaction and drive off the road.
Somebody working night shift falling asleep.
Or falling, right, totally, 100%, right? So I'm going there, and the state patrol from the adjacent county, not even the county I was working in the area, showed up, and they're there, and I'm like, oh, right away, I'm like, oh boy, this is gonna be a battle of whose car accident this is. Being me and new officer, I'm like, I'm gonna be handling this because this is my area, trying to dive deep into something, making sure I handle my calls in my jurisdiction to provide services to the people that pay for me, right? So I get there, and the Brown County Sheriff's Department's backing me up, and he's retired now. There's a sergeant who'd get beat red. I'm talking like, no joke, beat red, steam coming out of your face when he gets angry. And I'm talking to someone in my squad, and the state patrol's ahead of me, and he comes back just fuming red, and I just keep looking, going, oh boy, this is going to get interesting. And he comes up and he goes, the state patrol says it's their call. Like, well, we've already discussed this before. It's my jurisdiction. I got dispatched here. If they want to help out, they can help out. There's traffic to close. We have witness statements to take. They can definitely help us out. He's like, nope, let's go talk to him. So I go up to the squad car and I talk to this state patrol guy. And right off the bat, he's like, you're the only agency we have problems with. And that sergeant behind me was just, I think at this point, he was so red, he looked like a tomato, and just steam flying out of his head. And I'm like, just go back to your squad. I'll try talking to him. So he goes back to his squad, and I come back and I tell the sergeant from the county, and I'm like, hey, they're calling their own recon team. We use you guys for recon. You got to call your recon. He's like, so we're going to have 2 recon teams out here. Biggest waste of taxpaying money. Couldn't work. They couldn't put their differences aside to work that call, or even to figure out the case of why this person came off the road. That's what frustrates me the most on that. They couldn't put their differences aside just to work with us. They're working against us. Now, me being a little crafty of what I was going to do, I asked the sergeant, said, call your recon team. So they came out first, and I knew the person from the recon team, and I say, hey, look, you take measurements of this car. Do you need the car for anything else? He's like, nope. Once I'm done taking measurements of the car, you can have it. So, okay, great. And the wheels are clicking in my brain how I'm going to handle this. And the State Patrol's recon team shows up, and they go on the highway. So you got the State Patrol team on the highway doing their measurements before the car veers off the road, and you got the county taking the measurements of the car. And I called the tow truck driver. And the tow truck driver, God bless her soul, his name's Bobby. And Bobby knew the background of, like, the feud between these agencies wanting to take all these fatal accidents. And I said, Bobby, I need this car when they're done recon. You think you can have a tow truck driver down here like right now? She's like, you betcha. And I said, well, the State Patrol's going to want that car. She goes, it's your call. It's your car. We'll tow it for you. I said, okay, sounds great, Bobby. So county got done taking the measurements. I told that tow truck driver, hook her up. It's time to go. And every State Patrol guy started running off the highway. Don't move that car. Don't move that car. It was like a bunch of kids running to the playground, right? Like, don't move it. And the tow truck driver stuck in the middle, and he's like, what's like a showdown, like a Western showdown, you know? And he got me trying to talk to the sergeant from the State Patrol, who's just yelling at me, and you got the state patrol guys on the road just be like, don't move that car. You got the tow truck driver just looking around like, what's going to happen?
The three groups all pointing at each other.
Right. Who's going to fire first, right? Until the sergeant looks at me and goes, you move that car, you won't be working for the rest of the day. I said, what does that mean? He goes, you'll find out. I mean, what else am I supposed to do other than if I'm not working the rest of the day, I'm not getting fired by them, you know?
And then you walked over and pulled the lever yourself, right?
I thought about it. I thought about it actually, because that tow truck driver didn't. He was contemplating life decisions at that point. But I thought about it because I even asked him, which lever do you pull, you know? And he knew where I was going with it. But then I end up calling the chief. It's a sunny Sunday. It's 10 o'clock. He's in church. He's getting out of church. And I remember that conversation. I just hear the sergeant from the state patrol say, well, if you want to deal with it, sir, get out of church and come here yourself. Click. And I'm like, whoa, this is going to be really bad, right? So finally he calls me and just tells me, let him take the measurements. We let him take the measurements. The problem after that really I pretty much told him straight is notifying next of kin. We're not sending two people to the same house to do the same thing over again. So they were already trying to get someone down into jurisdiction to report them, but I already knew ahead that that's what needed to be done. So once I figured out who it was, I actually already called the agency and said, can you make this notification? And when they said they're sending someone down, I said, honestly, this is a major problem. You're not going to send another agency down to this house. Cancel them, because we're not going to re-victimize a family by telling them and a half an hour later another agency knock at the door and tell them the same thing. I mean, that's just ludicrous. And this is part of the nasty part of law enforcement people don't get. Some people aren't willing to work with others, and the bottom line scheme of things is humanity and just making sure it's getting taken care of as a team. But some people don't want to work as a team, whether it be political, whether it be monetary, whether it be newer officer not knowing, or making sure they justify their police department. Like me, I'm trying to justify why they have a police department. If they're giving up calls to everyone else, what's the point of having them? You might as well contract with someone else, you know? But people don't understand that. We'll talk about in different episodes the thin blue line family, you know. I really don't think it exists as much as people think it exists.
I think it's a diminishing culture. You know, the feeling of camaraderie has kind of gone. You know, you get little pockets here and there, but there's a bunch of research on it. And yeah, for another podcast, whether it's me or somebody else, but there's a bunch of reasons.
It's not like it used to be like after third shift, you go to the bar, you have a beer and you go home, right? I mean, some of the stories from the old timers are like, wait, what?
Well, I mean, even just, you know, I don't know if you were there in Sheboygan at the time, but the union rented or owned.
Oh, sure,
like
the building. Yeah.
And
I was there.
They had like they'd be there all day for video gaming after their annual meeting, and they would be, you know, ordering pizza and hanging out and doing stuff as a group, as a community. And that stuff just doesn't happen anymore.
One of the cultures that I really just had a hard time is going from Brown County area to Sheboygan was some of the best times I had as far as getting to know how to be a cop, or who am I backing up, or who's backing up me on a call, and who to trust, right? Going to get the cops who just make it worse or make it better. We used to go to Quick Trip. I shouldn't say that, not necessarily Quick Trip, but a gas station. And we used to have coffee. We'd sit there for an hour and we'd get to know each other, like talk about family, talk about, I don't know, high school, college, whatever it is. Not necessarily everything about law enforcement, but you got to know who's backing you up. Like, you knew if this person gave you a wink, like there's something they're telling you you're not picking up on. This is what you do. And when I went to Sheboygan, I think the first week I was training, I'm like, okay, let's go to the gas station and get a soda. They're like, oh, we're not allowed there. And I'm like, what do you mean you're not allowed there? Oh, we can't stand around the gas station. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't stand around the gas station? I was dumbfounded, because this is the area that I bonded with other cops the most, is the gas station. It also made the gas stations a safe place in the middle of the night. No one robbed any of the Quick Trips in Brown County. It was like unheard of robbing any of the Quick Trips, because cops are always there hanging out, having coffee. But other supervisors in different areas view that as wasting time, but it's not wasting time. You're getting to know the people you're working with is the most important, I think. You got to know the audience, the room. You got to read the room. If you can't read the room, you can't handle a whole bunch of calls.
At least as efficiently as a well-oiled machine where everyone gets along or at least has a mutual respect or understanding. So you'll always have people that don't necessarily see eye to eye, but
it's just human nature. But I think you understood people better back in the day, prior to technology and everything else. I mean, there's other trends that transitioned to get another podcast, but there's a lot to cover. I mean, there's a lot to unbox. There's a lot to uncover. We even hit the tip of the iceberg of certain things. There's a lot of other people with podcasts out there that I think are doing a really good job of describing some of this. So I'm not going to beat that. But I think to some advantage in this podcast is taking those personal experiences that me and you've had or other people on this and breaking it up into segments and, again, talking about financial or talking about entrepreneurship or talking about what it looks like after retirement. That's a difficult one, too. Your whole personality is like law enforcement. When you leave, it's difficult. You think you stay in touch with people and you really don't. You lose a piece of yourself kind of behind, So that's what part of this law enforcement workshop podcast is about. And I'm hoping a lot of people will get something out of it. Even if it's one person, whether it be leadership learning, character learning, or learning from one of our stories to better their career, or even better.
Or just having a laugh at us.
Or having a laugh. Yeah. Like we're a bunch of idiots.
The blind leading the blind.
It's probably about accurate.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I could play like a 10-minute, I don't know, audio clip of our phone conversations. It'd be like, wow, these guys are really screwed up. I mean,
yeah. First off, you did tell me that you wanted this to be like PG or G rating. Your side of the phone conversation alone is not there.
I will say if I die of natural causes, it isn't my computer you have to delete. It's probably my social media accounts. Those are also interesting enough. So. Another awkward silence moment.
Well,
it's going to cut out, right?
Why does it need to be cut out? Everyone can enjoy this awkward silence. We'll just sit here.
I should have some really great music to go with, like elevator music.
And be like, how's it going?
That's great.
Yeah.
What else is there, Kevin?
What do you mean? What else do you want to talk about?
There's a lot to talk about. I don't know. I feel like this first podcast, is the most important because people are going to look at it and be like, hey, either it's going to be really crappy or it's going to be pretty interesting. I feel like it's interesting facts. I think some things down the road will be interesting in the route it's going, which is great. I'm just hoping everybody else enjoys it. I guess some of it won't be enjoyable. They'll be informationable. Or I don't really want to call it. What else do you call it besides enjoyable?
I don't know.
Educational.
Oh,
some entertaining.
Oh, perfect. Well, I'm here for the entertainment.
You're just here to see the ride. There's other people that want to be in the podcast, but they said we're going to watch the first couple of them because political.
Oh, then you should have started with me.
Political wise, they don't want to get themselves in a position politically.
They could. I'll have to make sure to go back and read my department policy on social media usage. Just make sure you don't need to cut anything out here.
I was gonna say that at the beginning for some of the viewers, like
if there's random cuts, it's because Kevin was censored by himself.
Trying to make sure that conforms with you not getting in trouble at work, and that's a whole other aspect too. Censorship through law enforcement. I mean, I think government oversteps their boundaries in a lot of things. I get the purpose of censorship, but there's some things that don't need to be censored that they try to control a lot. I think that's a lot of it. But again, my trauma is different. Leadership is my trauma. Your trauma is totally different. So covering both of them, I think, is an important aspect.
Yeah. But
censorship is pretty big.
I would say it is definitely easier to talk about things when you're no longer actively in the career. And that just goes, yeah. Some certain sense of confidentiality about things and doing whatever. And skirting some issues and some real life problems that, are potentially occurring in real time. But,
we have Kevin in another podcast to talk about a real traumatic experience between me and him that he really wants to cover, like badly.
You can do whatever you want. There's no,
there'll be another episode, but, I get part of that. But yes, leaving law enforcement, there is a big break of having a general life back. Believe it or not, it sounds crazy, but getting your life back as far as you can say certain things. I'm not saying inappropriate things or like things to make yourself look bad, but you don't have to be looking over your shoulder left and right 24/7. Is nice, and I would hope that down the road, law enforcement changes a culture where people can be who they are. Yeah, with reason.
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a unique thing either, though. You could be an accountant and you're probably not going to talk about your boss or your coworkers, on something that there's a potential that they're going to hear, unless you literally don't care about any work relationship.
Crafty American, you can do whatever you want as long as you get your work done. Crafty American, well,
I heard the boss is pretty terrible. I've heard that there is absolutely no insurance provided.
There is none.
You could get injured and you'll just be harassed to come back to work sooner.
That might be true.
You could, at the classic Happy Gilmore, like, my fingers hurt. Guess who's getting guard duty? You mentioned once that, like, hey, so I think washing hose is giving me like some tennis elbow, and you go, well, I'm sorry, but that's the only thing I need you for.
Yeah,
I'm tired of this shit, Grandpa.
What does washing hose mean?
Well, he wants to be a pretend firefighter. So, in case you're unaware of what Crafty American is, so he uses fire hose to make different types of things. Like, I'm just looking at a bunch of fire hose down in a basement right now.
Dog toys, beach bags, koozies, mugs, candles.
My wife did say that I should wear my Crafty American polo to this because it would have just really like been the cherry on the top of it. I should have. I needed more layers down here. I didn't know that the house was going to be cooled to crisp like 62 degrees or something. But so it all has to be
craftyamerican.com. That's all you gotta say. Just go there.
It's I believe it's on Etsy. They accept Venmo, PayPal, all kinds of stuff. It's great for the Christmas season. Basically whatever.
I'm not paying you for this.
I'm aware. Unfortunately, I did think about having ChatGPT write up like a little rider, like what needed to be in my green room, and I was going to tell it to like give me the most ridiculous things. I was going to ask for like peeled grapes and like a steak that's half medium rare, half well done, and like just the most obscene, like ridiculous requests.
What's the green liquor you can't find anywhere?
Absinthe.
Yeah, I need that.
Yeah,
to a certain degree.
The legit stuff with the little worm. Oh, well, no, that's tequila that has the worm in it, right? But anyways, so the hose has to be sanitized and like decontaminated and
like
whatever
fire
else.
hose.
Yeah, the fire hose. There we go. And you have to like. Apparently, I was scrubbing it too hard, trying to do my job too well. But yeah, it was like a lot of hose and sitting there and doing the hand motion to scrub the hose. Gave me some tennis elbow, and he was very inconsiderate.
So I will say one of the worst moments between me and you. Kevin comes to FDIC. If anybody doesn't know it, cops we'll cover this too in a different episode, but cops are really good at funerals, right? Explain a little bit, maybe history of it, but and it's not to say they're good at it. They're good. They're just cops are really good at memorializing cops who died in the line of duty. Okay, firefighters are really good at conferences. I think there's two moments with you in my life. One is Kohler's Food and Wine, where you're like, I'm gonna go drink some wine, and the minute your eyes hit the tent of Kohler Food and Wine, you're like, we're gonna go to all of these, right? And
no, for the record, it was the Tito's booth.
Whatever it was,
oh, yeah.
You thought I was joking, and you got there like, wow. And by the way, there was a contest. At the top of every hour, you won a bottle of wine. Two people.
Oh, that was year two. That was year two,
and we won almost every hour.
Well, I mean, it was separated by our dark period. because we went year one. Then there was a separation of our dark year.
We'll cover later on. Okay.
Yes, our dark year, and then we went again after that.
Yeah. And number 2 is asking a friend to come to FDIC with you, which is the world's largest firefighter conference. And I don't know, having him look at it, and I'm pretty sure he was like, well, it's pretty big. Thinking this is a mom and pop's craft show.
I did not think it was a mom and pop's craft show.
I mean, when I first went, I didn't know what to expect. When I went there, I'm like, wow, this is crazy.
First off, I saw the trailer and all the shit in the trailer. So trust me, I wasn't surprised by like, oh my gosh, this is massive. Like I knew the amount of stuff that you were asking me to help you carry in. So zero surprise.
We didn't I don't think we had an amazing time there. And I'm pointing this out because one of the worst moments of my life is when we talk about mental health, and my PTSD and anxiety was so bad at that time, and just having a random breakout with my friend in the hotel room or the Airbnb we have. And it's kind of like the not knowing what to do with my friend in the car crash. And I think it was the opposite for you. Like, how can I support you? I don't know what to do. Because we'll talk about it in later episodes. Like, it just comes and goes at certain things and certain triggers, and it wasn't fun. But I had to do it for my business, or I would have just not done it. But I'm glad I did with my best friend that year. I mean, I was going through some really horrible times. But I felt bad, I think, more for you than myself, because you're like, wow, I'm seeing my friend break down on what I'm supposed to do. Like, it's just the awkward moment of silence there.
2 words: hot tub. It was a pretty gross hot tub. There was nothing else to be done. No, that's not true. You showered me in gifts that week, you know, saying like, oh, this is some really, really good alcohol. And you're like, well, I guess you just got the care package. Like, yeah, it comes in a fancy little box with little shot glasses. And yeah, it's the top thing. Whereas I was like, yeah, I'll just take a bottle. That's fine. Now I have a box that I still have at my house somewhere.
It's all part of the trauma response. Worked out pretty. By the way, that place isn't the same as it was this year. It's not even the same. Yeah, that was probably the worst time, I think. Well, it was a good time that my friend was there, but, and you know, that leads back to you really, in law enforcement, you really have to find someone you can rely on. And as a friend, I think there isn't any point, even in our dark times, I probably could rely on you all the time. If I had to call you in the middle of the night and really call you, like I'm saying, to really wake you up, you'd probably answer the phone for me. If I really needed something, legitimately needed, not just to harass you, you probably would answer the phone. I think a lot of people need those type of relationships in law enforcement. They come and go. I mean, there's other people years before best friends with that don't really talk to anymore just because you move on and go to a different agency. But I think I got lucky because I learned to go home, but also had a certain small group of friends I was connected with. A lot of newer cops have a big group of friends, and they get themselves into trouble because they're out drinking at the bar and doing things, you know, that I shouldn't say that they shouldn't be doing, but not doing it in a way that's healthy, I think.
I'd agree to that.
Got to have a small pack of friends.
Well, you have to remember, it's been a little bit since you've been in law enforcement. The new generation, I don't know that they go to the bars. They're all playing video games together.
I mean, that's better.
100%.
Way better than it used to be. I mean, the stories from the old veterans, I don't know how they're still. I don't know how they retired.
Well, they found a way. It might not be going well for them, but.
So how this is going to work in the podcast, I'm hoping. Again, I'm hoping the way it works is every week I'm hoping to have a new guest on in the podcast. And again, covering different topics. Sometimes maybe there's things people that I'm talking to don't agree with. Maybe sometimes there's things that the public disagrees with. I want it to be raw, like we're having a conversation raw and unscripted, because a lot of people ask me, are you going to have it scripted? No, absolutely not. I don't know the purpose of having it scripted. It's not realistic. It's like that personal one-on-one with law enforcement we talk about. And that's the whole intent, but also where to find the law enforcement workshop. So Mondays and edit Fridays, and I kind of haven't figured out when I'm posting podcasts, if it's weekly, because the editing content is just going to take so long. And again, being new to podcasts, there's probably some guys out there going, oh man, it's super easy. It's probably going to take me 5 minutes to edit that. Being new, I kind of don't know where that's going to lie. But
I think you got to just let it ride, just the entire thing. What difference is it
every night?
I didn't say live. Whoa, maybe like a solid 30-second delay. Like live TV.
Yeah, well, people don't get that too. People ask me,
push the pause button.
Are you going to be live? And I'm like, I would rather be live, but I think there's some things that need to be added, like awkward silence moments, or
you're good. You're gonna really take out that moment when I was like sitting there looking at the camera and saying that we're in this together now, and
if there's a way to zoom in and zoom out, absolutely.
Oh, you don't even need to do that.
But
okay, do you want me to just get closer to the camera? Sorry, we're low tech here. I need to zoom in.
This is where we get weird. So it's going to be on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and possibly Spotify and Apple for podcasting, depending on what it is. But I'm also trying to do speaking arrangements. I have one in Chicago on my birthday this year. And it's the Midwest Security Police Conference, and talking about my story. So if you are from that area, you can go there. It'll be the first time I do talk about my story from kind of start to finish. Where I lie with trauma, what you can do as a leader, or what you do with character. So if you do have somebody out there looking for speakers, I am out there trying to share my story and get it out more. So there's a lot of avenues to watch the podcast. There'll be a lot of people who probably want to be on the podcast that I've lined up for, or people out and that are watching it like, hey, that's great content. I'll be part of the podcast. And we'll have people on here, but as well as we're looking for people for the podcast too. So making those connections, even now, trying to make those connections with other podcasters and stuff, I think is really important. Trying to solve the same mission that they're doing on their podcast, and just being collectively as a big group, because there's a growing trend right now in law enforcement. I think trying to expose some of these things, mental health, leadership, like the thin blue line being depleted kind of thing. And I think the community is taking heart to that. And I think there's a lot of say into it. And it's supposed to make law enforcement stronger, because I think right now there's a really decline in law enforcement. Maybe it's a generational thing. That's what I view. Maybe you defer because you're a lieutenant now, but I think it's different than what it used to be 20 years ago. And the old timers will say that too. It was different when they were 20 years ago, but I don't see improvements from it when I talk to friends. But you're a different perspective because you're on that side of leadership. So maybe you see an increase of it. I don't know. But a lot of it's supposed to help out everyone in general. Not necessarily PD, but fire, paramedics, or even in general life. Some of the stuff like trauma can happen with regular citizens, obviously, not just law enforcement first responders, that maybe you have questions on. This podcast is supposed to be a broad aspect for regular people to watch too. Anything to close on? Should we close on something? Like a cop saying like, oh, that one bit the dust,
What?
I don't know. I don't
Was your police training just watching all kinds of do you need me to put my sunglasses on and take them off like I'm CSI Miami? Or
I watch zero law enforcement videos. Like I like cops videos, movies maybe. I don't watch a lot of TV anymore.
Yeah, I think I mean Brooklyn Nine-Nine was fantastic. If you've never watched that,
Dragnet.
Hilarious.
Do you know what Dragnet is?
Yeah, it's for old people.
Well, that's what I watched.
You're an old soul. That's the nicest way to say that.
I like to watch a lot of auditor videos. Yeah, you think that's crazy, but I watch a lot of auditor videos, and a lot of other cops will be like, "Oh, you're a horrible cop for watching them." I honestly think government at certain points oversteps their boundary on things. I mean, I was there for 20 years. I think there's some things you can probably attest to this. Like, example, enforcing 4th of July blankets and chairs out early. There's no ordinance to enforce it. How are you taking them? Like, that's an overstep of boundary. A state park I live next to, no professional photography in the state park. It's a state park.
Oh no. It's probably allowed. Oh. You have to pay for the permit.
Yeah. Why? It's a park that taxpayers pay for, but you can't take professional photography.
It's another tax. I just all it is.
My point is,
well, then at the same point, I mean, because if you're going to start with that argument, then why do I have to buy a vehicle pass to go in there and park?
That might be a valid point. Well, why do I have to pay an extra wheel tax for a municipality when I already paid for registration?
Glad I don't pay that anymore.
So I'm just saying there's certain things government oversteps their boundaries on, right? I'm not saying everything. I'm not like anti, but back to the auditor stuff. There is really good content for cops to watch auditing videos because there's some things that cops aren't always right. I mean, I thought I used to be always right when I was a new cop. And then I'm like, I'm not right on this. And I take people's opinions on it. Again, back to the personal aspect of it. But the auditors, not all of them, but some when they're respectful on things, not ones that go in and start swearing at cops and other stuff. They have valid points on things, and learning from the mistakes of others, I think, is important. And some look horrible on there, like cops look horrible, and the way they talk to people. I just remember one being like a jailer telling an auditor to put his hands against the wall because that's what jailers do. Some of them, put the hands against the wall, but they're not in the jail. It's like you just make yourself look really, really bad. So I learned from talking to people that way. But actually, I don't watch cops episodes except for like auditing videos. I just think they're really interesting.
Well, and there's always things to learn, because if the auditing video went big, it's probably because the cop did something that they shouldn't have done.
Well, there's sometimes they do something right, but they make them look bad. That's what I mean. A good auditor that doesn't do that actually just goes there, takes video, and like, okay,
they're doing it for clickbait. So the majority of them are, they're trying to chump the stump, or stump the chump. There we go.
There's one I won't say the name to that does a really good job, and it's not clickbait. I think he's trying his best to give the information that I'm trying to provide. Like there's an overstep of government boundaries on some things. And from my understanding, and I'm not 100% probably right on this, but my understanding, a lot of the money he does make, he donates back to the community, which if that's true, that's pretty awesome. I think that his audits from. Now we've had auditors in Sheboygan before that they're horrible. Like they're totally in the wrong. They try making people look bad, and it's like this is awful. I'm talking about the ones that really go and try to, I don't know if you want to say make a change, but try to prove the point that this isn't a law, and why are you enforcing this? That's the ones I like. I'm not crazy and like anti-government at all. I just think sometimes government oversteps their boundaries in certain things.
Sure.
But yeah, check out the podcast. We'll cover other things. Kevin will probably be on again. You can hear us debate our black time of life, which will take like, I don't know, 5 days at least worth of podcasting.
Sure. 5 days. It's a really simple one. He's just going to spend most of the time justifying his actions.
And that leads up to the point of being raw. Some of these a name might be spoken, and that's totally fine, because in my world, I don't know what we're hiding behind when we're doing certain things. So unfortunately, if there's things that are real cases of stuff and I say a name, I'm not going to be one to be like, hey, I'm not going to say that name because I'm worried about something. It'd be different if it was untrue. I think that's where some of the really good podcasts I listen to aren't filtering some of those things as long as they're true. It's not going to be sitting here saying they're horrible. They're horrible.
Trash talking, name dropping constantly.
But I think it's important to realize from their mistakes, and they may not, like you, they may not say that they made any mistakes, but I think a good supervisor understands they do make mistakes. They're not always right. Like whatever they say, like the new cop isn't golden and God, and the people that work under them are the most vitally important, because they're leaders, not bosses. And I think that's the difference. So there might be some of that in some of these podcasts.
And if you're looking for a tagline, we could just be like, well, and so that was us bringing you to the other side of the thin blue line.
Wow. I had one. It was my logo on there is "You matter, you're enough, and with honor we can."
That's a lot to say. I'll leave that one up to you.
Or how about the law enforcement workshop?
Whatever. Brought to you by this. Oh, there's no .com though. He can make it appear, I'm sure. What is this, the Disney Channel now? You got your little magic wand?
It's a whole other podcast, me and Kevin liking Disney World. I don't know.
You can have my wife on for that one, though.
What do you think of the podcast room and the way it looks, huh?
It's cold. It's cold down here. But, I'm excited to see what it looks like. Maybe I won't watch it. Never meet your heroes.
It's like
me being on a podcast.
Actors not watching their own videos. Love it.
I'll wait for it to show up in my TikTok feed. They'll be like, this one's really long, skip.
And if you really want something interesting, I don't know if is the Sheboygan TikTok page still?
Yeah.
Okay, you can watch us eat brats.
I mean, I'm still the only one with the access to it. I think I gave it to somebody. I think
scrub that one out.
No, you can just keep it there. I mean, I have the access to it, so I think I had passed it along, and I don't think it ever got used. So,
but if you want to see us eat a bomb pop within seconds, dance, eat those brats, chug Sprite. What's on there?
People running into people acting like cars. That was our most viral one.
Oh yeah, acting like cars.
And providing enough distance, not following too closely.
Yeah, so if you really that's a throw it out there, make that go viral. Make my ones go viral, because on other podcasts you'll learn that making the ones I'm in go viral will upset probably certain people. Yeah. Make those ones go viral.
I did just occasionally I'll throw that back out to like the youths of the community, or even like my nieces and nephews, and I threw that out to like my 12-year-old niece, and she looked it up, and she found the one where it was the thing where you're like the wipe and then you transition, and she's like, oh, that was the cringiest transition, and she has all this negative feedback from me, and I'm like, what do you expect from me?
Most people
don't forget, we got yelled at for not cleaning up the bathroom there, even though we didn't make a mess.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Actually, a lot of people when they find out about me, like at the place I work at now, looked at the TikTok, and there was multiple of my employees being like, oh yeah, you were the one dancing, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was the one. I take it with pride.
Yeah, no dancing from me.
Eating brats though.
I did eat some brats.
Wearing umbrellas.
I did wear an umbrella.
And that's the other thing. You got to find a friend that's willing to hold an umbrella for you.
It was through my vest. Nobody had to hold it.
No, I'm talking about when we went to I saw a picture. And these podcasts, I'm totally going to attach pictures of me and Kevin. They're like, I think on this one online, it shows us eating a donut together.
Oh, yes.
That's the kind of friendship you need in law enforcement.
Yeah, sure.
Sharing donuts.
Yeah,
we had many meals at the school together.
It was like 3.
That's many in my world.
Mm-hmm. Lots of tacos.
You might find out about this stuff on the podcast coming up, or different podcasts. Got to watch it. Raw, edited, unscripted.
He actually has a script. Everyone is just random keystrokes. He's just trying to, it's probably put together by ChatGPT. Just kidding. There's no script here.
With no legit ending to the podcast, we're just going to keep talking until we just get exhausted and fall asleep. So
until my wife calls me and says, hey, where are you?
Maybe that should be the ending of our podcast. The podcast keeps going until your wife calls you and says, where are you?
Yes.
That's a great saying for today.